Welcome to my craft table. Hello, this is Jamie Magrich. Welcome to Jamie's Craft Table. Today I'd like to show you how I made this card. We're going to be using the Inspiring Iris stamp set from Stampin'Up, a swirls and curls embossing folder. We have a card base, 5.5 by 8.5, scored and folded at 4 1/4. A piece of lovely lipstick, which is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. There's just going to be that tiniest little bit of border there. Then we have 3 pieces of white. It actually started as a 4 inch by 5 1/4 inch, or 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece. I cut up a 1 inch strip and a 1 1/4 inch strip, and then the piece that was left is 1 3/4. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to put this aside. We're going to bring in that middle one, the 1 1/4 inch strip. And we're going to be using Melon Mambo and Old Olive ink. I'm going to open the Melon Mambo. Actually, we're going to start with the Old Olive. For this one, we also used Memento. So let's see, this one goes here, this one goes here, and this one we're using Memento. That's it. Okay, so I have the carnation and the sentiment that says thanks on one stamp set, or on one block, and I'm going to stamp them and ink them at the same time. And all I did was I just put them up where I wanted them on my card and picked them up with my block. Okay, so I'm going to stamp them down here towards this bottom edge. The bottom of that carnation wasn't inked, so let's try that again. Cattywampus. Let's turn it over and try to do the other side and see if it's any better. I moved right at the last second. I'm actually going to turn it this way because it's easier for me to, well, can't get it off. It's easier for me to line it up. Make sure my head's not in the picture. One more time. Come on, James, you can do it. It's not difficult. I just, for some reason, there you go. Alright, so we're done with that one. Now we're going to bring in the top of the flower and the Melon Mambo. This one I can turn this way to line up. And you're going to line that up with the flower as best you can. It's not going to line up perfectly. That's the nature of this type of stamp. Stamp it down. Okay, then we're going to ink up the stem part with the Old Olive and line that up. Okay, that's all the stamping. Let that sit there for a minute so I don't smudge it, because I'm likely to. And these 2 other pieces, we're going to bring in the swirls and curls embossing folder. And we're just going to place those in there. Just want to make sure they're parallel. It doesn't really matter where it is in there. Okay, and we'll close that up. and I'll run it through my big shot. I'll put you on pause and I'll be right back. Okay, I brought my machine in. I have my platform. I have one cutting plate. This is a skinnier folder, so I need 2 cutting plates with it. It's one of the older ones. You want to put it in with the fold going towards the machine. Okay. Run it through. Oops. That stuff underneath it, so. Okay, there's our design. You can use it either way, either this way or this way. Kind of like that way. I think that's what I'll do today. Okay, then we're going to bring in, yeah, stuff stuck to the bottom of my plate. Bring in our lovely lipstick piece. These are going to get foam tape on the back. You can use dimensionals. I just wanted it to be a little bit more substantial. And you don't want to put it right all the way to the edge because it might overlap that one a little bit. This particular tape needs a scissor, and I'm just trying to use up some supplies I've had for a long time. Don't want them to get bad and not be any good, so I'll go ahead and use them. Alright, which side? This side. A couple smaller pieces. I went up to my, what used to be my craft room, and I have a whole drawer of foam tape and stuff like that. It's like, I need to start using this stuff. Before I buy more Stampin' Up, which I really, really love, I need to use what I have. Okay, so this is going to go on here. This piece will go on this side. This piece will go on this side. And this strip that we stamped is going to get laid right in the center of it. Now you'll notice that they started the same length. Since we ran them through the embossing folder, they look a little bit short. This one looks a little bit long. So I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer, and I'm going to trim just the tiniest little bit off of the end. I think I'm actually going to trim it off this end. Should be enough, but so dry fit them, make sure they're all going to fit on there, and see how much of a, we should have that like 1/8 of an inch border. So I'm going to start on one side. Excuse me. And I'm going to try to get this as straight as I can. Center top to bottom. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and put this one down. I'm going to use wet glue for this one. There really was nothing wrong with that other one, except I had it a little over to the side a little too much. Tuck that in underneath, just slightly underneath the edge of that one. Okay, now let's bring in this one. Oops. Sorry, I'm off camera. Just taking off the backs of this foam tape. Alright, now this one's going to right up against the edge of this one. There we go. Now we're going to mount this on the front of our card base. And again, it's going to have just that little bit of a border. Not much, like a 1/16 of an inch. Alright, now I'm going to bring in some of the basic rhinestones. And I'm going to bring in the lovely lipstick blend. I'm just going to color a couple of these rhinestones. I already did one, or did a couple. And I'm going to add a couple rhinestones. And again, I'm just trying to do that triangular pattern so that it keeps your eye flowing around the page. Okay, then I've got a bow that's tied with some pink ribbon. And I'm going to decide if I want to add this on here as well with glue dot. I want to just leave it off. I think I'm going to use one of these paper pumpkin glue dots. I think glue it down here towards this bottom. Okay, there we go. Well, there's our card for today. Here's the one that I did previously. Let me bring in a couple alternatives as well. This one doesn't have any decoration on it, but it's a little bit smaller. So this base piece was 3 3/4 by 5 before I cut it into strips, and I think these are both 1 inch. Okay, then this one is the 4 1/4 by 5. 4 by 5 1/4, so there's no edge other than it's the same size as the card, the red piece. And then I tied a bow around this way. I had used dimensionals on this one, so I was able to tie a bow around it. I'm not sure I like it there, but you can have it with all kinds of different variations on it. Well, thank you for joining me at Jamie's Craft Table. Again, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope you have some fun playing with your stamps today.